sometimes they get arrested for distraught. We go over there and check blood pressure. If it's, we think it's going to be necessary to transport. Then at that time, we would be charged. Right now, we charge, the service we give the Pike County jail is, we don't charge them anyway for doing the service called Voodoo Cloud.
Martha, that service call ultimately gets billed to the entity where that prisoner was arrested. If it's a city prisoner, we would be billing ourselves, so that would happen there.
That could happen, I imagine.
When you impersonate
So-
them, their health issues, I think we're kind of
So-
stuck to do something.
So we visited this
I think it'd be best to do that.
quite some time back on billing for when we do a transport. If they have anything pre-existing or something they've done before they got arrested and stuff, and they have transport for that reason, that gets billed to that individual.
Okay.
Okay? If the prisoner guard slammed the door on somebody's finger and it was caused by the sheriff's office, then they,
Okay.
Yep, thanks for bringing these charts in too, Chief. When we first talked about this, probably 6 months ago, all those rates, I believe I made a recommendation, leave the BLS non-emergency leave at $750, and the proposed rate, drop them all $100. That's why in the column on the rate comparison, if $100 less was under this, to discuss change. So the $100 less, I feel is reasonable from let me say, first of all, I got a lot of time on my hands now. I love doing numbers. I did my research, City of Elko. They do this, what you call pack bundling. And our rates actually are in line with this, but the reason I would like to see consideration to lower these is because through the help of the city treasurer, I've got, and the report the chief gets too, so everybody's aware. Last time we met, which was a week ago, we were only collecting 35% of our calls. The latest report I just seen from the city treasurer, it dropped to 27%. Is that a big shock? The sharp billing, I said that's the norm. So for example, when you ask about Medicare and Medicaid, the treasurer got these numbers from the Sharp company, and the same code, 425, that means the mileage. Mileage, for example, we're billing $480. Medicare is going to pay $11.54. The ALS non-emergency transport 1, we bill $1,050. They're going to pay $351. We charge $11.50. They're going to pay $556. We charge $750. They're going to pay $292. BLS emergent 1, we charge $1,050. They're going to charge us. Pay us $470. Then the advanced life support level 2, the highest rate $1,325. They're going to pay $750. So we're not going to get a lot of money. What happens on that, and the Medicaid, I got those numbers too. When I go to the payments, 70% of the calls off this report right here are paid by Medicare, which are seniors. So if they're only paying so much, the senior has to come back and make up the difference. Medicaid, at the present time, they're only paying 1% of the charges. So the insurance people, insurance is paying for 23%. Patients are only coming up with 6%. So I think for your seniors, which our community is getting older, we got to take care of them. I think $100 is not going to hurt. It's not a money-making thing anyway. That's what we've got to really watch. The most important thing is we do our billing correctly, get it out promptly on time to get it in the system. So I strongly, again, I agree with the work they've done. I like the bundling thing. That's the modern way. That's the way we're doing it, I did have a concern about the treatment no transport, because you look at some of the stuff they're charging, you go there, blood sugar, $40, you've got to give them oxygen, 50, those add up. So we absorb that, for a home thing, and we're going to charge $300, so it'll make up some of that right there, if that goes through. But I think the rates are comparable, but I'd like to see them come down. Just, again, we've only been in this business for 1 year with dealing with since most of our calls, like I said, were, the percentage of them are in the county. I'd really like to go along with this idea, but reduce the charges.
What would your recommendation be, Drew, like the first one, 18?
Drop them all by 100.
Yeah, the first one, the EMS 18, leave it the same, the base. Everything else, drop $100.
How about the treatment on transport?
Right there, again, the chief, he'd be better because he's gone to these home services, which they need to have their breathing tube cleaned out. And I've never been on a call like that, but they go in there, they might think my heart rate's fluttering, they check it. You know, it's $100 for the monitoring. And I think, again, we don't know what Medicaid, Medicare is going to pay, because it's not been charged yet, so we don't know what they're going to pay. So, again, there's the only one I don't really have a good hard comment on, you know, but.
And I can get more information on that.
Okay. But you know, one thing I wanted to point out too, is that the treasurer brought this to my attention. You know, guys, they build out on this report here, it's right, 241 calls. But basically, right off the goddamn get-go, you're dealing with the contractual adjustments from the insurance company. This report, they billed $400,000. Contractual adjustments through the insurance companies, automatically $67,000 is wiped out. So then you go down what Medicaid, Medicare is going to pay. So we really, you know, just to, and I'll say this, if we're trying to make more money for the fire department, the general fund, that's a noble gesture, but we make it at the expense of the seniors, the ones that can't pay. You know, if you got a senior that don't have supplemental insurance, they're barely making their household payments. So I like the idea. I just think we need to be maybe a little more compassionate, because we're not going to get rich on this by any means. So that's okay.
Can I make another on populations?
Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
So since we started this other billing company, I get a lot of the payments come through me, and I see all these payments, and I have to bring them in for deposit, and I have to forward to the billing company. So I get to see a lot of these, and I see a lot of these come through, and because of this, I started really looking at the detail of payments of. And you've got a lot of the insurance companies see the $750 charge and all these additional charges, other than the mileage. They will pay, well, let's say they pay 80% of that bill, they'll pay 80% of the $750 and not the additional charges. So bundling, I'm sure is the way to go. I think they're going to pay 80% of the bundled rate. See, right now, these additional charges are going back to the patient, which I think is a plus on their side for insurance and getting paid. And not all the insurances are the same. Some don't. Some do pay the additional charges, some don't.
And you know, when I've done my research on this, Elko County, for example, they use the bundling. The city of Elko Fire Department, which is a different ambulance service, they use the flat rate. So there's push and shove. How come I want to call that Elko City of Elko ambulance? Because they're cheaper than the county. So it's a little back and forth type thing. But the bundling thing, and when you look at the billing, again, like the chief says, that seems to be the norm on these billing companies. You know, bundling it, boom, they don't got to go analyze it and all this other jazz.
Thank you for those explanations. Are there any questions of the chief?
No, I just, you know, whatever we do, the bundling, I think, is very important, especially for, keeps us safe from being audited, doing the bill rate.
I agree with the bundling too. What do you think about Jim's proposal of dropping everything under the base rate?
Well, especially the council and everybody's thoughts.
Okay, I'll make a motion to the code on that resolution 2020-2 EMS S18, that non-emergent at $750. Leave it at $750. That's been our current rate. All the other ones on this list lower by $100.
Including the treatment on transport?
Yeah, that's, I lower that too, since we haven't gone there. The chief, we get into that and find out it needs to be adjusted.
You want to leave the transport mileage and the standby time where it's at?
Correct.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'm just going to,
I'll second that.
Okay. Further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried as so ordered. Thank you for your work on that, Russ. We'll move on to item
just one question, mileage stays the same, and just question on the 300.
Yeah, we've lowered it 100 to, get a feel for it. Down to 200, not 200, 200, it'll be $200 on the,
Knock it by one.
Treatment, no transport.
Oh, the treatment on no transport,
yeah,
this is $100.
no, it'll be dropped 100.
Oh, well, that'll be dropped 100.
Yeah.
And I'll find out more on the legality if we can build that or not. Maybe we can see about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's been a lot of, Cody's spent a lot of time, effort to look these numbers. Thank you.
We'll move on to item 9, items for discussion, possible action of the Ely City Council as recommended by the Municipal Utility Board. Number 1, Mayor Robertson, discussion for possible action, recommendation to draft a 10-year lease proposal for the building owned by Robinson Nevada Mining Company, located at number 1 Murray Spring Circle, allowing Robinson Nevada Mining Company access to all monitoring points.
This went in front of the utility board this morning. I really didn't know the mayor's intent on what the draft should look like, but I did express that the water department could use that building. They're working out of the Connex box right now. They can put their equipment in there, so they did recommend approval.
And I don't really know what the mine would entertain. I suppose we could propose just about anything if we want to swap leases, so we give them their lease and we take that lease, or, I mean, the one thing they've made clear is that they are willing to lease the building to us. We own the property, we don't own the building. So, I don't know if the council has any brothers on this, or we just want to put a group together to start talking about that.
In a nutshell, maybe a 10-year lease for the building for X amount of dollars and see what they can counter with anything, just throw it out there and see what the intent is.
Yeah, get the verbiage to say who's gonna pay the insurance if it burns down. Is it gonna be insured by them or by us? But whatever, I've never run into nothing in my life.
You've never run into anything in your entire life? Has anybody run into you?
No, rented.
Oh, renting. Oh. I thought we were talking about car accidents.
Well, I've been to a couple of those. Wasn't my fault. Yeah, right.
So I think they lease the land for, what is it, $100 a month or a year?
I thought it was $2,500 a year.
No, I think it's
Pretty sure it's
about $100 a month for the land. That building's a nice building, I think it's 60 by 60.
It's got electricity, it does got electricity and water.
Yeah. Heat,
Bathroom.
bathrooms, yeah.
So what you say is 1,200 a month?
A year.
Every year, $100 a month.
I make a motion we get a committee together to discuss this and have it for the next meeting.
Who would you suggest be on that committee?
Some of it's rented, some, yeah. Very good.
I would like to remind you, if you guys create it, it's going to be in a public forum. You might want to let Jennifer handle that with your suggestions.
Okay.
But I would like to hear the council's suggestions. I definitely would like to hear the suggestions.
The suggestions so far have been provisions for insurance, a 10-year lease. Oh, I got you. What is the council suggestion?
City treasurer, Mike Craycraft, Kurt Carson.
Sounds good.
I knew I should have spoke up.
You got me on another one earlier this year.
We'll call that a motion, Andrew.
Yeah, that's my motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
His motion is just a full committee, but for, okay.
All in favor?
Right.
Any opposed?
Nay.
We'll move on to item 2, Councilman Carson, discussion for possible action, approval to send letter to Robinson Nevada Mining Company, requesting they present an escrow agreement modification proposal at the end, or at the July 23rd, 2020 Ely City Council meeting.
So I put this on the agenda because we sent the mine letter the first part of June. And our intent was to meet in June, and with COVID stuff, I just think everybody got busy and really didn't want to meet. But Chairman O'Flaherty and I have worked a long time negotiating with the mine, and there's a lot of things still up in the air. I just don't want a lot of things falling through the cracks at this point. The mine did respond and said they are collecting data, which is very valuable to us on the water table here around Eden. With that being said, I think, in my opinion, they can still take their time, collect this data. What I'm kind of getting at is we supplied the line several months ago, about 3 months ago, with our own data from an independent study from Nevada Rural Water, which has data on electrical costs, our cost on maintenance of pumps, things of that nature. And that's the things that we need to work on right now, and I think we need to work on it in a timely fashion. So the utility board did recommend sending them a letter stating that we would like some kind of presentation on the data that we provided them for this next meeting, not the data that they're collecting on the water table.
Or 23rd, and then they'll have theirs by August, right?
Yeah, and then in August, we can, it'll take us several months just to come up with a plan and a vision, so I just don't want to lose that.
Would you have a motion for this item then, given that recommendation?
Yeah, I move that we send the, my letter, and maybe next meeting, this coming meeting, they can present what they think of our data, and we can just open up an informal conversation on that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried, so ordered. Item 3, Councilman Aller, discussion for possible action, approval of new format to be used by water, sewer, and landfill departments for future monthly reports.
Okay, what I presented to the utility board, and I'll use, for example, when we're talking about wastewater treatment plant, I believe we should have the consulting engineers report on a normal basis. I'd like to also, I think that was one of the biggest deals, if they have any equipment issues, basically like we did with the fire chief, if there's a fire department, if there's equipment issues that the operators are seeing, we let that to the, I think Mike or whoever does the report, we get an idea, get more of a feel of the pulse of what's going on in the departments. Again, then going into sewer department, you know, they mentioned digs. What type of dig? Is it a water line break, putting in a water meter? Ongoing maintenance on the sewers. You know, we have some sewer lines, they rot out once or twice a month, whatever it is. We need to get a list of that, you know, when they mention these here, it's an ongoing maintenance thing, so we can get an idea going into the CDBG grant process or capital money to quit spending manpower going in there and rotting these sewer lines all the time. Get an idea, so, for example, on a report, sewer rotting, Hall Street and Murray. Was it a maintenance thing, or was it something plugged in there? The wells, again, they need to get that up to date. They were missing terrace well, which was brought up tonight. And then down there, and I threw out there also, I like to get an idea for a feel of non-payment shut-offs, or then how many were done a month. It gives an idea what our clientele is looking at. So, and then the clerk chief mentioned quite a few, you know, that some of that's easily, so I don't know who does this report. I'll be happy to throw my ideas out like I did for the fire department and work with the clerk. And then in the water department, once again, all about equipment issues. And the one thing I failed to mention this morning is we need to get reading on how many gallons of water the golf course is using, monthly and average, and we can carry on year to date because, you know, we have a billing agreement with the county starting May 1st through whenever the irrigation season ends. So we have an idea. And I know for a fact these numbers go, wow, shocking. But we need to get that out so it triggers the thought process because during that agreement, you know, we're supposed to be in touch with the county and all this. So, and I'll be happy to work with the clerk and whoever writes. I'll go through her and then she can fill it in with Mike and so forth. But that they accepted the ideas of different formats. The one thing Chairman O'Flaherty did mention, he would like to see the number of manpower, changes in manpower on the reports also. Because he said you're asking a lot for them to do work with very few men. So he would like to see that on there also.
Well, I really do appreciate all that information, and I had encouraged Councilman Allwood on these reports. Really, the purpose of these reports is to bring information that the council will be useful back to them. If we're getting reports that, you know, we've just been doing forever because we do them, and they don't have any information that the council feels is useful in their decision-making process, then obviously I think we need to look at those systems and make sure that the council's getting information that they can use. Because that is their job under NRS and City Code is public works and spending that kind of money. So
This was brought in front of the utility board too, and they did have two recommendations. One was to get with each individual lead person and see if they wanted to put additional information in there, or work with them on that. And also, they thought it would be advantageous if we had a list of manpower. So then they could see if they were down in the department or needed help in the department, you could kind of get a feel for what was going on and why.
Okay. How would we like to proceed on this item?
Well, we need maybe to get a little more input, right, before we.
I could, I'll make a motion that we design a new format, myself and the clerk and Mr. Craycraft's help, and these are monthly meetings, so we have a couple weeks to get it fine tuned.
Would you be willing to also put in that motion that they work with whichever liaison?
Absolutely, whatever, Mr. Carson, Mr. Upper, yeah.
So whether it's parks for Ernie
Oh, yeah.
or anybody else, so, okay. That being the motion, do I have a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can I open the doors?
Let's take a 5-minute quick recess.
Yeah, no worries. I didn't know that we were saving the best for last.
Well, let's get to item 10, the consent agenda. We have minutes from June 11th and bills from June 24th, June 30th, and July 1st.
Mayor Robertson, just to bring to your attention that I was not able to complete the June.
Oh, that's right. So just the bills from June 24th, June 30th, and July 1st. Do you have any questions on the bills?
Just one comment on the bills. I talked to the treasurer on this, on the bills for whatever day this is, July 1st. There, I had a question on Gale Oil, it said services, street department, that was for tires, loader tires, or work on tires, so. Other than that, I looked at all the, looked good to me. I didn't find one problem.
Any other questions then? No. I'll entertain a motion on the bills.
Also,
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried and so ordered. We're going to jump down to B new business. We're going to take item 6, approval for Councilman Aller, discussion for possible action, approval for White Pine Main Street Committee to use Survey Monkey to gather ideas for Broadband Park. No time or financial commitment is required, and the results will be reported back to the city legal.
Okay, I've called in some backup on this. Kyle, to help me on this here. I think the survey is a good idea. You know, a lot of people are on social media, and they can feed back to us, but we want to get some ideas out for Broadband Park. Once, if and some money comes forth, we got a plan in place, but we want to get involvement from members of the community. So it's sort of the first step at it, and I'll turn it over to Kyle, please. Thanks, Kyle, for coming.
Cool. Well, thanks for putting this on the agenda. I think all of us agree that Broadbent Park could serve a better purpose for the community, get more use out of it. I think everybody across the community has different ideas of what that use possibly could be. And as we know, the county did not prioritize the original Main Street proposal to upgrade Broadbent Park using SNPLMA funds. And so that pretty much leaves the ball back in our court. And so it's kind of a multi-phase project, and I agree with Commissioner Allworth, Councilmember Allworth. There should be more community outreach and communication. It just looks good for all of us, you know. And so what Main Street is proposing, and again, I'm representing for Main Street right now, is a partnership between the city and Main Street to produce this community survey through SurveyMonkey, which is free. And so again, it's no cost to the city. To put out what people would be looking for upgrades for Broadbent Park, what functionality it would serve, and I think, you know, we would be working together on creating that survey on what kind of questions that we would be asking. And so the survey would go out. Again, we're not up against any deadlines right now to get this information out, but we are wanting to use what comes back from the community survey to apply for a grant through the National Park Service. They have opened up the River Trails and Conservation Assistance Program to year-round proposals. And so what this is technical assistance, which means it's not a monetary grant. They would be bringing in their planners, and what they, essentially their focus areas are building healthy communities through parks, trails, and other outdoor opportunities, conserve natural lands, rivers, and watersheds, engage in youth outdoor recreation and stewardship, strengthen the organizational capacity of project partners, and support the National Park Service. And so I feel like Broadbent Park Plan qualifies for all of those things. And pretty much what this is just I'm here to answer any questions, or to hear any of your concerns or possibly goals, or even start the conversation with what your ideas would be that you would like to see in Broadbent Park, or even what you've heard your constituents say that they would like to see in Broadbent Park.
How long would this take from survey out to results back?
You know, we could really put it out for as long as we wanted to, but I feel like if you put it out for too long, people just wait. So our thought is that we would work over the next week or 2 weeks to create the survey and what those questions would be, and then we would put it out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, no longer than a month. And then from that point on, we would compile all the results, and then we would go ahead and we would start the application process. And what we would be asking for in the application process is taking the goals from the survey and actually designing something that you could take to a granting agency and say, look, we've already got this design, we've already done the community outreach. This is essentially shovel ready with the city's approval. And then we start going after the funds to actually accomplish that.
I'd like to, what I did, I don't know, a couple of months ago, I went and got an aerial view of Broadbent Park. Where it sits right now, trees and everything. And I done just an example, and I showed Clerk Lee this, and I just threw an example out. Cement slabs over there, more tables, more of these park things, amphitheater, a welcoming thing, and just put it on there, and then on the side, people can just write in what they want, remove the light, put in new lights, more bathrooms, blah, blah, blah. So in our approach to doing this on the internet or social media, too bad this COVID thing, we could have people come down and get a copy of this aerial and draw your own design into it, so we'd have that too, so they look at it and try to piecemeal things in there. For example, I like, one of my ideas was over there by the Armory, so 3-on-3 basketball, volleyball, just a cement slab. You rent the equipment from Park Supervisor Craycraft, another picnicking areas, parking, off-street parking, that's one big handicap thing. We don't have none of that around here. But these lights have got to go. That's going to be a tremendous expense. They've got to go. So a picture is worth 1,000 words, but we could get that out there when we talk about this. Come to City Hall, pick up a drawing, take it home, mark it up, who knows what, and we'll come back with ideas. The best idea comes from lots of ideas. And
Yep.
the Survey Monkey from the last one they did, what I understand, was very successful.
Yeah, I believe we had 400 or 500 people participating, and a lot of it was a mix between the online survey and then paper survey too, and going around the senior center and some of the other places where we knew people were hanging out. Don't think we have that as a luxury this time, but we would provide a paper survey as well, and any assistance to anybody who wanted to express their opinion on it, but maybe was not technically savvy. And I'd also be happy to scan that drawing that you did, Jim, and put that out and kind of have that, also be kind of like just a visual aid to the whole thing, so people can be like, oh, I can draw on this, and, kind of brainstorm a little bit. So it truly is just, asking for the partnership between Main Street and the city to move forward on opening up that conversation with the rest of the community on what they would be looking for.
I think it's a great idea. Are there any other questions for either Councilman Mallory or Mayor Burton?
I'd like to make a suggestion at this point, with Councilman Ulmer. I would like to include Salters Park between Murray and Mill up this way. It's a beautiful area that could be used, especially with that nice hillside, to be a good sleigh riding and whatnot for kids during the winter time. There is no place they could go to do that. And if we could manage the money to rebuild that, right now it's an eyesore, and it can become a very useful area if we put it into a park system.
Okay, put that into consideration. Thanks, Ernie.
I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make that motion.
Also,
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Carried as ordered. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you very much. Absolutely, thanks for moving me up.
We'll move back up to item 1. Mayor Robertson, Nevada Housing Authority, NRHA, Director of Home Ownership Program, Diane Arvizo. Discussion for possible action, approval of Resolution 2020-9, providing for the transfer of the City of Ely 2020 Private Activity Bond volume cap to the Nevada Rural Housing Authority. As you may all recall, I think with the exception of Councilwoman Beecher, this is something we did about this time last year.
Director Arvizo is on the phone.
Director Arvizo, do you have anything to add here?
Yes, good afternoon, good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. I am happy to answer any questions that you might have this evening. You did get a full packet in your package that was submitted, and you have been transferring private activity fund accounts to the Nevada Rural Housing Authority since 2006, so I must say thank you for your partnership. That very first transfer let us help 51 families, and here we are 14 years later, we've helped our 9,000th family. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Ms. Arvizo. Are there any questions for the director? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Second from Councilman Allworth. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, and thank you, Director Arvizo.
Thank you, and y'all stay well. Hope to see you next year in person.
Yep. Item 2, Mayor Robertson, discussion for possible action, first reading of ordinance 735, Bill 2020-7, with approval to move to the second reading, ordinance 735 amends Title 9, Chapter 5, entitled Improvements, amending city's curb and sidewalk policies.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second? Perfect. Any further discussion?
Further discussion here.
Let's have it.
Okay, I think we just, it's a wording change. On the first page in C, existing residential, item number 4, and then go to the next page, under E, item number 5. I think the same sentences are saying the same thing, but we make the same sentences, or both sentences say the same.
What was the first number?
It's on C4, and then on E5.
Okay.
And then at the top of the page, on page 2, there's a spelling on the first sentence, property mud.
But all perfect.
And then a question I have, which I don't have an answer, and I asked somebody that poured concrete.
Did you just bark?
Huh?
Did you just
Yeah,
bark?
that's a bit of the mud.
Oh, okay. I was
Okay,
thinking it was getting too hot in here.
it is hot in there, I want to speed along. I have a question on the curbs, we're talking about 18-inch curbs. That's the pan. Is there a requirement on the height? The curb, I guess, they're.
Well, and that's a fair question.
Oh, hold on.
And all sorts of fun ways about that.
I'm supposed to have been quiet, I'm sorry.
Part of, I guess, on that, where we have people match the existing curb on the street, whether it's rolled or L, I think the height would be determined by the existing curb around it.
Normally, I have to serve at 6 inches.
Yeah, but if it's a rolled curb, sometimes that's different.
Well, even the road, if we made to the back part of it, it's 6 inches.
Okay, so it just follows where the natural terrain is, basically.
Whatever the majority of curb is on that street, like up on the terrace where it's all rolled curb, and down in Central Ely where it's
Okay,
something
then
else.
Code is 6 inches.
6 inches high. So then, and then up on Mill Street, the dirt part that we're working on, there is a, there's a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas on that. There is a gutter, a pan, in one section is 18 inches, and another one, the guy ordered, he had a 20-inch thing, which, you can see the problem when they're not being uniform. You want to come in and lay asphalt and you have a saw cut. So this is, I think it's good because of the 60 words or so that was in there. I think this is a great change, it's something a little more easier to follow instead of whatever this was put together.
Well, I know there's a lot of work done in this by our engineer and our building inspector, and our department heads looking at that.
Something we should look at too, it's not in the ordinary here. When we're going to be resurfacing or laying the street, in order to preserve that street, there should be curb and gutter on both sides of that street.
Ideally.
And I think, before we do some of that type of work, we should contact property owners and see if they're willing to pay for the curb and gutter.
Thank you. Any other questions or corrections or comments on this? We have a second and a motion. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried and so ordered. Item 3, Mayor Robertson, discussion for possible action, review of eligible expenditures under the CARES Act and direction for the use of $729,204 that distributed to the city. We hope gets distributed to the city at some point. Under the directions here that I believe all of those guidelines got emailed out to council, didn't they?
Well, they were emailed, they were part of the packet last time,
Yeah.
but I would like to recommend, we've had several requests tonight. Perhaps we should put those on the agenda next meeting and also get more specific with city needs.
Well, and the guidelines, just to be clear, do provide for helping local businesses and organizations as well. I think there are things that need to be done, particularly with the issue that was brought to Councilman Allworth. With our businesses being open and schools, having been closed or continuing to be closed or curtailed, and Boys and Girls Club as well, there is a huge expense for daycare and childcare for community members. And either finding a way to financially assist entities that provide childcare, or I don't know if we can provide direct childcare or help some of these other organizations out, that is a big expense to families. Entertaining eligible expenses from nonprofits and businesses in our community, certainly been open to, and that's kind of what the county wants to look at and provide proposals to work with the city on. They got additional money, more money than we got, and they expressed an interest in providing some of that, possibly to the city to help businesses, as most of the businesses are located within the city. So entertaining those kind of expenses, I think, would be entirely appropriate. If we end up getting the money, and doing that would be a good help for our community.
So what would we need to do, just prioritize the different requests we get, or?
I think the best thing to do would be to come up with a list for the next meeting where we say these are the city proposed expenditures, here's the total, here are requests we received, and then maybe if the council has other possible suggestions on how to distribute that money either to businesses or other expenses maybe the city hasn't included, I think would be good, and we can review that at the next meeting.
I would like to see on there, putting the 12.5% back to employees, is that a possibility with that money? It's COVID related, that's why we took it away.
The only wages that I can see that we can put it towards is the fire departments, the emergency. Otherwise, that's.
The language is first responders.
First responders. Now, would that take, if we did it, take the pressure off my general fund that we could look at that? But if, to say that we're taking that money to put everybody back up, no, I don't think we can do that. But in conjunction,
Can
if
we
you
look
want
into it,
to
though?
put
Because I
it,
think it's
if
good.
you want to put it towards the first responders' wages, their wages and benefits, then that could possibly help get the others up just based off of it.
So what we're saying is we can't
I
use it.
can't promise, yeah.
Yeah, we can't use it directly for payroll, except for the payroll for first responders. If we can use it for all the payroll for first responders, that would alleviate enough pressure that we could possibly roll everything's back.
Yeah, and it's pretty black and white on the first responders.
Yeah, that's very well spelled out.
Yeah.
So that's the tack the city's trying to take with that. If we can do that and then benefit everybody that way, that's absolutely what we want to do.
Okay, thank you.
But that would be a direct expenditure of the CARES Act money. So if the council's okay with that, I guess I would entertain a motion to bring back that list.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.